I love the idea that there's this whole conversation going on where he is like half paying attention, and there's like on his screen it's just like a wall of green like code, like from the Matrix, or like flashing,
Yeah.
so like flashing down his screen as he tries to find the one script to rule them all.
Oh, of course,
Yeah.
always.
We're just gonna go through all of the old scripts and try and piece back together what happened.
Iliad summary. It starts with Takua's creation. He looks around and responds to commands given by Angont. The other elemental lords are very pleased with the production of the first Matoran, pointing out some flaws in the system that needs to be improved on. Rungons, parentheses, Valika, close parentheses, suggests sentience be added in, upon which all the other great beings become very triggered and think he's the biggest idiot in the world.
Amazing.
I love how even they're not taking it seriously. Like, they know all of this is just a joke.
He goes off by himself, not saying a word, to a working station where the final touches are being put on Shadow Stealer. Oh, gosh darn it!
The prodigal son returns!
I hate everything.
Words on screen read in the time before time as it cuts to two Isagori discussing mining events.
No, you don't understand. You don't understand.
Which they shouldn't have. And it flashes deep into the icy ground.
Right now, right now, that's me. I am staring into the abyss. I'm staring into the abyss. There's me and the Isagori staring into the abyss, and all I see is Shadow Stealer. I am having Vietnam flashbacks to view the bubbling protodermis spring. One of the Agori decides to touch it and is instantly destroyed, as the sentient silver liquid deems him corrupt. Wait, what?
Nice.
Is that how it works?
It's sentient. No, it's never been how it worked.
Okay. After this, the other Agoris left in shock until the elemental lord of ice walks out of the wall. I thought maybe he could just walk through his element. I don't know. No. Yeah, the elemental lord of ice is mystified by this bubbling liquid's destructive power, and the scene cuts to black.
No, the scene cuts to black.
Okay, sure. We cut to another shot. Angont, Haramus, and another great being are hearing the elemental lord of ice's report. Angont tells him to let no one, not a single person, near that spring.
Not even the biggest idiot in the world near that spring.
But you see, Rungons is an idiot. He's not a person. The elemental lord of ice then gives him a metal vial of that liquid, telling him it won't harm lifeless material. Angont sends the unnamed great being to begin careful tests of the substance. Then he and Taramus head into another room, where through the dimly lit darkness, Shadow Stealer can be seen zipping in and out of darkness, a whirlwind of polished metal. He easily dissects whatever Angons creates to throw at him, but apparently dissatisfied with his performance, he challenges him to prove his capabilities against himself. I don't know who this sentence is talking about. There are 5 hymns and only one reference to Angons. This is where shadow teleporting powers come into play, as he dives into Angons' shadow after letting him seem like he has mastery over his swordplay, and comes out of the shadow of the former light source in the room. Wait, former light source?
Yeah, because he stole the shadow, so it's now a former light. Wait, what?
I don't know. Let's just move on.
This script sucks.
I see your point. It's a pretty good point.
What about the part when Rungons returns? After defeating Angons without breaking a sweat, Angons congratulates him, upon which he is appalled.
How dare you be nice?
Enters the room, and Angont explodes at him for giving Shadow Stealer intelligence.
No, he physically explodes. Like, he actually explodes like a grenade.
Rungons retorts with a few points, and eventually thoroughly disgusted with Angons' disrespect of his creation's free will, exits the room, followed by
So they
Angont.
just have a debate, and then he's like, ugh, cringe, liberal, and then he just leaves.
Yeah, it sounds like this happens a lot in this family. After he reminds Heramus just how wrong Rungons is. Heramus, who stood and watched the whole time, now tries in vain to comfort and counsel Shadow Stealer, who's beginning to doubt much of what he's been told in the short time he's had sentience.
Wait, he's comforting Shadow Stealer, the thing that should, like, everyone's like, wait, why did you give this weird monster thing sentience? Oh, by the way, it must suck.
I don't feel bad for Shadow Stealer. Shadow Stealer can go die in the hole.
It will be better soon.
Yeah, no.
The great being comes up with like a little blanket and a cup of cocoa to the monster that steals shadows. And now we get to the ELs.
And during it, the EL of Ice is unusually silent. The other ELOs note that the EL of Ice is usually the one to head reports and handle the meeting itself, to which the EL of Fire mentions he appreciates the peace and quiet for once, upon which the other ELs attempt to outdo his jabs at one another, resulting in the EL of Ice losing his cool, and commands everyone to be silent. This leads to the EL of Jungle, after a short silence, to comment on a saner topic, the rampant distrust going on about in the tribes.
Finally,
yeah, okay.
Topic.
All right. You know what's more sane than just making fun of each other? The encroaching civil war.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Because we do
indeed live in a society.
They're losing the almost family-like trust they once had with the other tribes. And hold on, let me just like, why? How did they have a family-like trust? Their role models are Angont, Rungont, and Heramus.
Look, you just got to remember that these guys are all one big family.
All right. The EL of Water suggests angrily that the EL of Earth is starting trouble by accusing the EL of Ice. But the other ELs are already curious as to what the EL of Ice is supposedly hiding.
The thing is that now I'm just imagining them all as like a bunch of eels in a fish tank. They're like made of different elements.
They've begin pressing the ELs of Ice and Earth about the matter. The EL of Ice grows more tense as the conversation escalates. I'm pretty sure he's the EL of Fire, guys. He's kinda got a loose fuse.
He's kinda sus.
Reveals more and more about the spring until she finally says all she knows about it, releasing the last bit of info in a sorrowful, regretting matter.
Not manner, matter.
Matter.
Regretting matter.
His relationship.
I'm sure as hell regretting matter right now.
Ignoring his relationships to the other ELs and his tact, remembering only his duty to his tribe and to the order of Angons.
Yes, Angont has this personal cult.
No wonder he has so much power. They're just like, everyone wakes up one day, and then you've just got all the Agori just chanting around Angont, having a good day, and then Angont pops off into his unit, and then flies off into the sunset.
Yeah, his unnamed unit, which is actually just a statue of Angont with a jet at the bottom.
And the license plate is 666.
Exactly.
That's what everyone...
What have we done?
It's so stupid.
You realize that now?
He slams his fist down on the table, demanding that the spring, a powerful, new, unheard of substance, belongs only to him. That he will not share any portions with the other great beings, and that if anyone so much as dared to come into Equinox, he would rain death and chaos on every single one of their tribes. Rungans is now renamed Vasuda to kind of work with the Valika theme. So imagine Rungans. Yeah, throw out that name, it doesn't matter anymore. It's Vasuda. Vasuda is eyeing the production of the Matorn as a capable task force of builders. A bit miffed by the mass production of them, he walks up to Angont and grumpily asks him why we need a gazillion more Takuas. We could have a gazillion more Shadow Stealers. Everyone hated that. Angont gravely responds,
There's war.
the great beings gather on a hilltop at night, watching a gory and Glatorian slaughtering each other over the seemingly useless explosive liquid. Former brothers and sisters brawling over the MacGuffin of planetary catastrophe.
Planetary catastrophe! What?
Vasuda asks why they need builders to fight a war that is doomed to fail when they could have a gazillion fighters.
They could have a gazillion Shadow Stealers and steal all the shadows.
With Angont responding that they need builders to help them to find a future. We cut to the aftermath of a battlefield and we see two Ice Glatorian. Different from the two Isagori that we saw earlier. These are true Ice Glatorian. I didn't get confused about the difference between Glatorian and Agori. Okay? We're all cool.
All you need to know is that the Agori are the ones that blow up. And the Glatorian
don't, because they're cool. Because they discuss about how Sorrel is MIA and how he was the only one able to tame the Iron Wolves. They then walk past Angont, and suddenly it goes quiet as we see him watching over the field, sorrow in his eyes, and no words. Only music.
No words. Only music.
No, you know what happens? Like, it's just this long shot of this push in on Angont, and it's like, he's so sad, and it pushes right in on his face, and then he just goes, do 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 do.
We then have a voiceover with words where Angont says about how Bordella and Glatorian are destroying each other. He then ends with the line,
"This war is tearing our world apart."
End of that bit. He then proceeds to pull an Obi-Wan and stays behind. And what? What's the? Okay, whatever. Angont actually catches onto the scheme, but doesn't tell anyone. He at some point cut to a scene where Vasuda is about to board the GSR, but is confronted by Angont. The two exchange a verbal blows. And then they start actually fighting, which will give us a chance to see what kind of power the GBs really have. It ends with Vasuda knocking Angont down. Vasuda almost boards the GSR when Angont calls out to him.
"You'll ruin everything we've worked for."
And Vasuda will reply,
"No, Angont, I will give the new world the destiny that it deserves."
And he walks through a door that closes behind him. Angont calls back to his little ship thingy that he arrived in as yo, it's a ship. His unit is a ship.
It's a ship thingy.
Oh my god, I can't stop.
Angont crawls back to his little ship thingy that he arrived in as the place begins to fall apart as the GSR leaves. He flies back to wherever Heramus is at the time. Who cares where he actually is? But that's where he goes. While Angont gets medical attention, the two watch as the massive robot flies off and comment on what might happen to it. That's the end of that bit.
Oh my god. That is incredible.
And then the topper, the final bit, where we finally see the result of everything. All of this war, all of this strife ends in one final scene. A strange creature, Shadow Stealer, is exploring this dark library. He jumps between pillars, seemingly looking for something. kicking up dust as he goes. Certain video archives.
I know what you're doing. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Finally, he stops in front of a specific video archive. It turns on, and a holographic picture of Toa Howrix appears.
There's a prologue and then a big announcement of the project to the world. After that, every episode would begin with Shadow Stealer.
No! I know what you're speaking of. Oh, please, no.
Finding an audio file placed specifically so he could find it. It's probably in the shadows. They're the only things he could actually use. Then shows what happened from Helrix's point of view. And Shadow Stealer never says a word while he recalls the events. After each audio file, he zips from shadow to shadow until he's off screen, then fade to black. Eventually, the final log is placed within Shadow Stealer's grasp. Helrix says, "This is the last time I will bring back the memories of anguish you tried so hard to suppress. My friend, you were the only one to witness it." The final memory, the last episode of the 4th season, cuts to the final confrontation and eventual skirmish between Angont and Velika. They throw one heck of a battle. All the while appearing, with no G, appearing to be fighting on the top of rusted stone/metal. Velika eventually sends Angont over the edge, and he falls beyond view. Velika shouts up the ledge after Angont, but Shadow Stealer appears behind him, grabs him, and quickly sucks him along into another shadow.
No.
The scene cuts to a different. The scene cuts to a different level of zoom until we barely see it. Scene cuts to different levels of zoom until we see just barely well enough that it was a massive hand.
Intro rolls. The GSR rises from underneath the island of Motunui.
That's so funny.
Wait, what? What is he doing? Okay. I think I just had an aneurysm.